For years, the heart of 7 Little Johnstons has been their seemingly unbreakable family bond, a chaotic and joyful whirlwind of laughter around the Thanksgiving table. But this year, that cherished image was shattered, leaving a void that has shaken fans to their core. A single empty chair tells a story of a family in crisis, a story of a daughter, Anna, uninvited from the one place she should have been most welcome. This isn't just a simple disagreement. It's a profound fracture, a culmination of whispers, secrets, and simmering tensions that have finally boiled over. What really happened behind closed doors to cause such a painful public split? We're about to unravel the exclusive details, the reports, and the heartbreaking reality of the Johnston family's Thanksgiving divide. You won't find this anywhere else. Stay with us, and make sure you like and subscribe to 7 Little Couple for more exclusive content. The silence from the Johnston family home this past Thanksgiving was deafening, a stark contrast to the usual boisterous energy that has defined them for over a decade on television. While plates were passed and turkey was carved, one seat remained conspicuously empty, a symbol of a deep and painful schism that has fractured the family's public facade. Anna Johnston, the spirited and independent daughter who has so often charted her own course, was not at the table. This was not a last-minute change of plans or a simple scheduling conflict. It was a deliberate exclusion, a decision made by her parents, Trent and Amber, that has sent shockwaves through their loyal fan base and exposed the long-simmering tensions that have been building behind the scenes for years. For those who have followed the Johnstons' journey, this was more than just a family argument. It was a public declaration of a family in crisis, a heartbreaking development that begs the question, how did it come to this? To understand the magnitude of this Thanksgiving divide, we must first look at the official narrative presented by the family patriarch and matriarch. Trent and Amber, in their carefully worded statements to the public and on their show, have framed this painful decision not as an act of punishment, but as a necessary, albeit heart-wrenching measure for the emotional preservation of the family unit. They speak of creating a temporary boundary, a pause intended to allow heated emotions to cool and to create space for eventual healing. Amber, often the emotional anchor of the family, has spoken of the need for a calm and peaceful holiday, free from the tension that had begun to permeate every conversation involving Anna. She painted a picture of a household on edge, where the mere mention of Anna's name could trigger a cascade of anxiety and conflict. The decision to exclude her, from their perspective, was an act of protection, a way to shield the younger children and themselves from what they perceived as an inevitable emotional storm. Trent echoed this sentiment, emphasizing the need for everyone to have space to breathe. He suggested that forcing a family gathering under such strained circumstances would do more harm than good, potentially causing irreparable damage to an already fragile relationship. This tough love approach, as they see it, is a painful but necessary step on the long road to reconciliation. They believe that sometimes, in order to rebuild something that is broken, you must first step away from the wreckage. They have spoken of their own sadness, of the emptiness in the house without Anna's presence, and the deep sense of loss that accompanied their decision. It was, in their telling, a choice that brought a fleeting sense of peace at the cost of a profound and lingering sorrow. But this carefully constructed narrative of benevolent protection and necessary boundaries stands in stark and dramatic contrast to the reality experienced by the one person at the centre of this storm, Anna herself. While her parents spoke of healing and space, Anna's world was one of painful isolation and perceived rejection. Her social media, a platform she has increasingly used to express her independence and connect with her supporters, became a canvas for her heartache. Through cryptic posts and subtle but pointed messages, she painted a picture not of a mutual pause, but of being actively pushed away and shut out by the very people she expected to be her staunchest allies. Where her parents saw a necessary boundary, Anna saw a wall. Where they saw an opportunity for cooling off, she felt the sting of being unwanted. This profound disconnect between intention and impact is a classic tale of generational misunderstanding, a chasm that has been widening for years between parents who believe they are offering guidance and an adult child who feels she is being subjected to control and criticism. In the face of this familial rupture, Anna has turned her focus inward, channeling her energy into her career, her personal growth, and the independent life she has fought so hard to build. This pivot is not just a distraction, it is an act of self-preservation, a conscious effort to forge an identity separate from the family system that she feels has misjudged and misunderstood her. She is creating her own sense of home, a space where she feels respected, valued, and in control of her own destiny. Friends close to Anna have shared that what she truly craves is not a simple apology or a temporary truce. She is seeking genuine change, real conversations, real accountability, and a fundamental shift in the family dynamics that have led to this breaking point. The empty chair at Thanksgiving was not the beginning of this conflict, but rather the dramatic and public culmination of a series of deeper, more insidious issues that have been eroding the foundations of their family for months, if not years. The roots of this rift are complex and multifaceted, a tangled web of communication breakdowns, escalating disagreements, and a fundamental clash of wills. At its core, there has been a catastrophic failure of communication. Conversations that were once open and honest have become minefields of misunderstandings and resentment. Anna has reportedly felt that her concerns were consistently dismissed, her perspective invalidated, and her attempts to express her feelings met with defensiveness. From her parents' viewpoint, Anna's reactions were often seen as overly emotional and rooted in frustration, rather than a genuine desire for constructive dialogue. This created a toxic feedback loop, a cycle of misattunement where each party felt unheard and increasingly entrenched in their own position. These communication failures were exacerbated by a series of escalating disagreements over lifestyle choices, financial responsibilities, and the boundaries of independence. As Anna has grown into her own woman, she has made choices that have at times diverged from her parents' expectations. While Trent and Amber would say they were offering guidance born from love and experience, Anna has often perceived their input as judgment and a lack of faith in her ability to navigate her own life. These small cracks in their relationship, born from differing perspectives on what it means to be an independent adult, gradually widened into emotional barriers, creating a palpable distance between them. The final straw, the incident that seems to have tipped the scales and led to the Thanksgiving exclusion, was a seemingly trivial matter that ballooned into a major family crisis: a birthday party. According to sources close to the family, Anna took to social media to express her hurt and frustration at not being invited to a recent family celebration. This public airing of grievances triggered a heated text exchange with her sister Liz, further inflaming the situation. For Trent and Amber, this public dispute was a betrayal of the family's privacy and a confirmation of their belief that the situation had become too volatile to manage in a group setting. It was this public fallout, they have privately stated, that solidified their decision to not invite Anna to Thanksgiving, a move they saw as necessary to prevent a similar scene from unfolding during the holiday. The silence of the other Johnston children in the wake of this public fracture has been telling. While none have made official statements, their subtle online activities have been scrutinized by fans for any clues as to where their loyalties lie. The absence of certain family photos, the likes on particular social media posts, and the careful neutrality of their public personas suggest that they are caught in an impossible position, torn between their love for their sister and their loyalty to their parents. Privately, however, it is believed that the siblings are divided, with some sympathizing with Anna's plight, while others align more closely with their parents' perspective. This internal division has added another layer of complexity and pain to an already fraught situation, leaving the family not just fractured, but precariously balanced on the edge of a permanent break. As the holiday season has passed, a heavy and uncomfortable silence has settled over the Johnston family. The immediate crisis of Thanksgiving is over, but the underlying tensions remain, a constant reminder, as Amber has described it, that something important is missing. The forced peace of the holiday has given way to a quiet stalemate, with both sides retreating into their own emotional corners, hurt, unheard, and uncertain of the path forward. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Amber confessed her deepest fear: losing her connection with Anna completely. This admission reveals the high stakes of this conflict, the potential for a temporary rift to become a permanent estrangement. Looking to the future, Trent and Amber maintain that reconciliation is possible, but they are clear that it will require a significant effort from everyone involved. They speak of the need for mutual respect and boundaries, a foundation upon which any new relationship must be built. They emphasize the importance of open and honest communication, a willingness to confront painful truths and listen with empathy rather than defensiveness. And they stress that this healing process cannot be rushed. It must unfold organically through small, natural steps that slowly rebuild trust over time. But for a true and lasting reconciliation to occur, the Johnston family must do more than simply agree to disagree. They must be willing to engage in a fundamental re-evaluation of their family dynamics, to shift from a paradigm of parental authority and conflict avoidance to one of genuine dialogue, mutual validation, and a recognition of Anna's autonomy as an adult. Without this deeper systemic change, any attempts at a truce will be superficial and temporary, a fragile veneer over a foundation of unresolved resentment. The Johnston family stands at a crossroads, a turning point that will determine whether this painful chapter is a stepping stone to a stronger, more authentic relationship, or the breaking point that shatters their family forever. This story serves as a cautionary tale, a poignant and public reminder of the complexities of family, the challenges of navigating the transition to adulthood, and the devastating consequences when communication fails and hearts are closed. The insider reports and exclusive theories that have been circulating among circles close to the family paint an even more detailed and troubling picture of the events leading up to the Thanksgiving schism. These reports suggest that the conflict is not just about communication styles or differing expectations, but about a deeper, more fundamental struggle for control that has been brewing for years. According to one source, the tension began to escalate significantly when Anna started to achieve a level of financial independence that allowed her to make life choices without needing her parents' approval or support. This shift in the power dynamic was reportedly a difficult adjustment for Trent and Amber, who have long been accustomed to being the central decision-makers in their children's lives. It is theorized that Anna's move out of the family home was not just a physical separation, but an emotional and psychological one as well. She was actively seeking to establish her own identity, separate from the Seven Little Johnstons brand, and this assertion of independence was perceived by her parents as a rejection of the family unit. The guidance they offered on everything from her career choices to her social life was, from their perspective, an expression of love and concern. But from Anna's perspective, it felt like an attempt to maintain control, to keep her within the familiar and predictable confines of the family system. Another report suggests that the birthday party incident was far more explosive than has been publicly acknowledged. The heated text exchange with Liz was allegedly just the tip of the iceberg. It is rumoured that the conflict escalated to include phone calls with Trent and Amber, during which harsh words were exchanged and old wounds were reopened. The source claims that Anna felt ganged up on, that her attempts to explain her feelings were met with accusations of being ungrateful and dramatic. This, it is believed, is what led her to air her grievances on social media, a move she saw as her only way to have her voice heard in a family where she felt she was constantly being silenced. The decision to not invite her to Thanksgiving, according to this theory, was not a carefully considered pause for healing, but a punitive measure, a direct consequence of her decision to take the family's private conflict into the public sphere. It was a message, loud and clear, that such behaviour would not be tolerated. This interpretation of events casts the parents' actions in a much harsher light, suggesting a strategy not of protection, but of control and punishment, designed to bring a wayward child back into line. Furthermore, exclusive theories have emerged regarding the role of the other siblings in this escalating conflict. While they have maintained a public silence, it is believed that the lines have been drawn more clearly than anyone realizes. Jonah, it is rumoured, has been a quiet source of support for Anna, having gone through his own struggles with his parents over his independence and career choices. He understands, perhaps better than anyone, the pressure to conform to the family's expectations. On the other hand, it is speculated that Liz and Emma have sided more closely with their parents. Liz's public confrontation with Anna is seen as evidence of her loyalty to the family's established hierarchy, while Emma, the youngest, is naturally more inclined to follow her parents' lead. Alex, caught in the middle, is reportedly trying to remain neutral, a difficult and emotionally taxing position that has left him feeling isolated and conflicted. This internal division has created a tense and fractured environment within the sibling group, turning what was once a source of strength and solidarity into a source of anxiety and division. The reports suggest that the siblings are no longer communicating as openly as they once did, that there is a palpable sense of walking on eggshells, of being careful not to say the wrong thing and risk alienating one side or the other. This breakdown in the sibling dynamic is, in many ways, just as tragic as the rift between Anna and her parents, as it threatens to dismantle the very foundation of their family. The financial implications of this conflict are another area of speculation and reports. 7 Little Johnstons is a significant source of income for the family, and the show's success is built on the premise of a close-knit, loving family. A public and protracted conflict, especially one that paints the parents in a negative light, could have serious consequences for the show's ratings and its future. It is theorized that there is pressure from the network to resolve this conflict quickly and quietly, to present a united front to the public. This external pressure may be influencing how Trent and Amber are handling the situation, adding another layer of complexity to an already delicate negotiation. Some have even suggested that the conflict itself is being milked for dramatic effect, that the public nature of the dispute is a calculated move to boost ratings. While this is a more cynical interpretation, it is not outside the realm of possibility in the world of reality television. However, the genuine pain and heartache that seems to be radiating from all sides of this conflict would suggest that this is not a manufactured storyline, but a very real and very painful family crisis that is playing out in the public eye. In the midst of all this turmoil, Anna has been quietly building a life for herself that is both successful and fulfilling. Her online boutique has seen a surge in popularity, and she has cultivated a loyal following of fans who admire her resilience and her determination to live life on her own terms. This success, independent of the family show, is a powerful statement of her own agency and her ability to thrive outside of the Johnston family bubble. It is perhaps this very success that is at the heart of the conflict. Anna is no longer a little girl who can be easily guided and controlled. She is a woman who knows her own mind, and she is demanding to be treated as an equal. The road to reconciliation, if it is to be found, will require a radical shift in perspective from all parties. Trent and Amber will need to acknowledge the validity of Anna's feelings, to understand that their intentions, however well-meaning, have had a profoundly negative impact on their daughter. They will need to let go of their need for control and embrace a new kind of relationship with their adult child, one that is built on mutual respect and a recognition of her autonomy. For her part, Anna will need to find a way to communicate her needs and her boundaries in a way that is both firm and respectful. She will need to be willing to forgive, to let go of past hurts, and to engage in the difficult work of rebuilding trust. And the siblings will need to find a way to support each other through this crisis, to create a space for open and honest dialogue where everyone feels safe to express their feelings without fear of judgment or reprisal. The future of the Johnston family hangs in the balance. The empty chair at the Thanksgiving table was a symbol of a family broken, but it does not have to be a portent of a future permanently divided. It can be a wake-up call, a catalyst for the kind of deep and meaningful change that can transform a family in crisis into a family that is stronger, more authentic, and more resilient than ever before. The coming months will be crucial in determining which path they will choose. Will they allow their pride and their pain to drive them further apart? Or will they find the courage to face their demons, to heal their wounds, and to rediscover the love that has always been at the heart of their family? The world is watching, And for the millions of fans who have come to love and care for this family, the hope is that this is not the end of their story, but the beginning of a new and more honest chapter. The narrative of a temporary boundary, so carefully articulated by Trent and Amber, has been subjected to intense scrutiny, not just by fans, but by developmental psychologists and family therapists who have weighed in on the public discourse. The consensus among many experts is that while boundaries are a healthy and necessary component of any relationship, the way in which this particular boundary was implemented may have been more harmful than helpful. A boundary, they argue, is meant to protect, not to punish. It is a line drawn in the sand that says, "This is what I need to feel safe and respected in this relationship." It is not a wall built to keep someone out. The decision to exclude Anna from a significant family event like Thanksgiving, without her input or a clear and mutually agreed upon path toward resolution, is seen by many as a form of emotional blackmail. It sends a message that her presence is conditional, that her place in the family is contingent upon her compliance with her parents' expectations. This is a particularly damaging message to send to an adult child who is already struggling to assert her independence and to have her voice heard. It reinforces the very power dynamics that are at the root of the conflict, with the parents holding all the cards and the child left feeling powerless and rejected. An exclusive theory that has been gaining traction is that this is not the first time such a tactic has been used within the Johnston family. Sources close to the family have hinted at a pattern of behaviour in which dissent is met with exclusion, a my way or the highway approach to parenting that has become more pronounced as the children have gotten older. The Thanksgiving incident, according to this theory, was simply the most public and dramatic example of a long-standing dynamic. Anna, with her fiercely independent spirit, has been the one to most consistently challenge this dynamic, and as a result, she has borne the brunt of her parents' attempts to maintain control. This theory is supported by reports of past conflicts with other children, conflicts that were resolved more quietly and with less public fanfare, but that followed a similar pattern. It is rumoured that Jonah's struggles with his parents over his career choices led to a period of strained communication and emotional distance, and it is speculated that even Liz, who is often seen as the more compliant daughter, has had her own battles with her parents over her relationship with her now husband, Bryce. The difference, according to these reports, is that Jonah and Liz ultimately chose to acquiesce to their parents' wishes, to make the compromises necessary to maintain peace in the family. Anna, on the other hand, has refused to back down, has refused to sacrifice her own sense of self for the sake of family harmony, and for that, she is paying a heavy price. The role of the television show in all of this cannot be overstated. 7 Little Johnstons is not just a documentary of their lives, it is an active participant in their family dynamics. The pressure to create a compelling narrative, to have a clear storyline with heroes and villains, can distort the reality of their relationships. It is possible that Trent and Amber, consciously or unconsciously, have been influenced by the demands of reality television, that they have adopted a more authoritarian parenting style because it makes for good television. The conflict with Anna, with its clear emotional stakes and its dramatic twists and turns, is a producer's dream. An insider report from a former crew member of the show lends credence to this theory. The source claims that there has been a noticeable shift in the family's dynamics since the show's early seasons. As their fame has grown, so too has the pressure to maintain their public image. The source suggests that Trent and Amber have become more controlling, more concerned with how the family is perceived by the public, and that this has created a rift between them and their older children, who are yearning for a more authentic and private life. The financial entanglements of the show are another crucial piece of the puzzle. It is believed that the family's income is largely dependent on the show, and that this creates a complex power dynamic in which the parents, as the primary contract holders, have a significant amount of financial leverage over their adult children. This financial dependence can make it difficult for the children to challenge their parents' authority, to risk rocking the boat and jeopardizing their financial security. Anna's decision to build her own business, to create her own source of income, independent of the show, is seen by many as a strategic move to level the playing field, to give herself the freedom to speak her mind without fear of financial reprisal. The silence of the other siblings, when viewed through this lens, becomes even more understandable. They are not just caught between a sister and their parents. They are caught in a complex web of emotional, familial, and financial obligations. To publicly side with Anna would be to risk their parents' wrath and to potentially jeopardize their own financial stability. To publicly side with their parents would be to betray their sister and to perpetuate a family dynamic that they themselves may find stifling. Their silence, then, is not a sign of indifference, but a calculated act of self-preservation in an impossible situation. The future of the Johnston family and the future of the show will depend on their ability to navigate these complex and interwoven issues. A genuine reconciliation will require more than just a few heartfelt conversations. It will require a fundamental restructuring of their family system, a renegotiation of power, and a commitment to transparency and honesty, both on and off camera. It will require Trent and Amber to relinquish their need for control and to embrace a new role as supportive and respectful parents to their adult children. And it will require Anna, and all the Johnston children, to find their own voices and to speak their truth, even when it is difficult and uncomfortable. The stakes are incredibly high. If they are unable to find a path forward, the Johnston family risks not just a permanent estrangement, but the implosion of the very brand that has brought them fame and fortune. The image of the happy, close-knit family will be shattered beyond repair, and the show will become a hollow and inauthentic shell of its former self. But if they can find the courage to confront their issues head-on, to engage in the messy and painful work of healing, they have the potential to emerge from this crisis stronger and more united than ever before. They have the opportunity to model for the world what it looks like to be a real family, with real problems, who are committed to doing the hard work of love. The choice is theirs, and the world is waiting to see what they will do. The pain of this familial schism extends far beyond the immediate family members, rippling outwards to touch the lives of their extended family, their friends, and their millions of fans. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins are all caught in the crossfire, forced to navigate the treacherous waters of a family divided. Do they take sides? Do they remain neutral? How do they offer support to both parties without being seen as betraying the other? These are the impossible questions that keep them up at night, the silent casualties of a conflict that has torn their family apart. Reports from friends of the family suggest that the division has created a palpable tension at community events and social gatherings. What were once joyful occasions are now fraught with anxiety, with a carefully choreographed dance of avoidance and strained pleasantries. The easy camaraderie that once defined the Johnston clan has been replaced by a heavy and uncomfortable silence. The community that once rallied around them, that celebrated their triumphs and supported them through their struggles, is now watching from the sidelines, heartbroken and unsure of how to help. And then there are the fans, the loyal viewers who have invested their time and their emotions in this family's story. They have watched these children grow up. They have celebrated their milestones, and they have felt like a part of their journey. For many, the news of this conflict has been a personal blow, a disillusioning and heartbreaking development. The comment sections of their social media pages have become a battleground of opinions, with some defending Trent and Amber's actions and others championing Anna's cause. The family that once brought so many people together is now a source of division and debate. An exclusive theory that has been circulating in fan forums is that this public airing of their conflict is a desperate cry for help. It is speculated that by bringing their private struggles into the public eye, they are hoping to find a level of accountability and support that they have been unable to find within their own family system. By allowing the world to see their pain, to witness their brokenness, they are perhaps hoping that the collective wisdom and compassion of their audience can help them to find a path toward healing. This theory is supported by the fact that both sides have continued to share their perspectives, albeit in different ways. Trent and Amber have used the platform of their show to present their side of the story, to frame the narrative in a way that is favourable to them. Anna, on the other hand, has used the more immediate and unfiltered platform of social media to express her raw and uncensored emotions. It is a modern-day family drama playing out in real time, with each new episode and each new social media post adding another layer of complexity to the story. The long-term consequences of this public feud could be significant. For the Johnston children, growing up in the shadow of reality television has already been a unique and challenging experience. To have their most painful family moments broadcast to the world, to have their personal struggles become a topic of public debate, can have a lasting impact on their mental and emotional well-being. The lines between their public and private selves have been blurred, and the pressure to perform to live up to the expectations of their audience can be immense. For Anna, in particular, this experience has been a trial by fire. She has been forced to navigate the treacherous waters of young adulthood, to forge her own identity and to fight for her independence, all while under the intense scrutiny of the public eye. The strength and resilience she has shown in the face of this adversity is a testament to her character. She has refused to be silenced, has refused to be a passive victim in her own story. She has taken control of her narrative, and in doing so, she has become an inspiration to many young people who are struggling to find their own voice. The path to reconciliation, if it is to be found, will require a level of honesty and vulnerability that is difficult to achieve in the best of circumstances, let alone under the glare of the reality television spotlight. It will require a willingness to turn off the cameras, to step away from the public stage, and to have the kind of raw, unfiltered, and private conversations that are necessary for true healing. It will require them to remember that they are not just characters in a television show. They are a family with a shared history, a complex web of love and obligation, and a future that is still unwritten. The story of the Johnston family's Thanksgiving divide is a cautionary tale for our times. It is a story about the complexities of family, the challenges of communication, and the destructive power of unresolved conflict. It is a story about the allure and the peril of reality television, the way it can both bring a family together and tear it apart. And it is a story about the enduring power of the human spirit, the resilience of a young woman who, in the face of adversity, has refused to let her light be dimmed. As we look to the future, we can only hope that the Johnston family will find their way back to each other. We can hope that they will find the courage to heal their wounds, to rebuild their trust, and to rediscover the love that has always been at the heart of their family. But whatever the outcome, their story will stand as a powerful and poignant reminder of the precious and fragile nature of family, and the importance of fighting for the relationships that matter most. The world will continue to watch, not for the drama, but for the hope of redemption, the hope of reconciliation, and the hope that love, in the end, will find a way. The story of the Johnston family, as presented to the world, is one of resilience, love, and unity in the face of life's challenges. But as the dust has settled on their fractured Thanksgiving, a new and far more complex narrative has begun to emerge from the shadows, a narrative pieced together from whispers, insider reports, and the subtle clues that lie just beneath the surface of their carefully curated public image. What if the conflict over an empty chair at the dinner table was never about a birthday party or heated text messages? What if the root of this painful schism is something far more fundamental, something the family has fought to keep hidden from the cameras for years? We're about to delve into the exclusive theories and reports that suggest the real battle being waged in the Johnston household is not over communication, but over control, and more specifically, over money. For years, the financial structure of the Johnston family has been a closely guarded secret. It is widely believed that Trent and Amber, as the heads of the household and the primary contract holders for 7 Little Johnstons, control the family's considerable income from the show. The children, even as adults, are rumoured to be on a type of allowance or salary, their financial lives inextricably linked to their participation in the family brand. This arrangement, while not uncommon in the world of family-based reality television, creates a powerful and often unspoken dynamic of control. To go against the grain, to challenge the authority of the parents, is to risk not just familial disapproval, but financial instability. It is this dynamic, sources close to the family allege, that lies at the very heart of the conflict with Anna. Her decision to launch her own online boutique was not just a career move, it was a declaration of independence. Every sale she made, every ounce of success she achieved on her own terms, was a step away from her parents' financial orbit. Her business, built from the ground up through her own hard work and ingenuity, gave her something the other siblings did not have: leverage. She was no longer just Anna Johnston, daughter and cast member. She was Anna Johnston, entrepreneur. And this shift in her identity, this newfound financial autonomy, is believed to have been a major source of tension within the family. An exclusive theory that has been gaining momentum is that Trent and Amber's guidance on Anna's life choices was often tied to a desire to keep her financially dependent. Her spending habits, her career aspirations, her very lifestyle were all subjected to a level of scrutiny that went beyond normal parental concern. From their perspective, they were likely trying to instill a sense of financial responsibility, to protect her from the pitfalls of youthful extravagance. But from Anna's perspective, it felt like a constant and suffocating attempt to control her, to remind her of who held the purse strings. Her success, therefore, was not just a source of pride, it was a threat to the established order, a disruption of a power dynamic that had been in place for over a decade. The Thanksgiving exclusion, when viewed through this financial lens, takes on a new and more sinister meaning. It was not just an emotional boundary, it was a power play, a stark and public reminder of the consequences of straying too far from the family's control. But the battle for control extends beyond the family's bank accounts. It extends to the very narrative of their lives, the story that is told to the world every week on 7 Little Johnstons. And in the world of reality television, the ultimate power lies in the edit. For years, fans have noticed a subtle but consistent pattern in how Anna is portrayed on the show. She is often cast as the rebellious one, the difficult child, the source of drama and conflict. Her moments of frustration are highlighted, her independent spirit framed as defiance, and her disagreements with her parents presented as evidence of her immaturity. A report from a source claiming to have worked on the show in its earlier seasons suggests that this is not an accident. The source alleges that Anna was identified early on as a key driver of conflict, a character whose struggles with authority could be mined for compelling television. The Anna versus her parents storyline became a reliable source of drama, a narrative arc that was returned to again and again. While the events themselves may have been real, the way they were edited, the music that was chosen, the reaction shots that were used, all served to create a specific and often unflattering portrait of Anna. This theory of editing as a weapon would explain why Anna has turned to social media as her primary means of communication. It is the one platform where she has complete control over her own narrative. She can speak directly to her supporters, unfiltered and unedited. She can share her successes, express her frustrations, and present her side of the story without fear of it being twisted or manipulated for the sake of a dramatic storyline. Her social media presence is not just a way to connect with fans, it is an act of reclamation, an attempt to seize back the narrative of her own life from the producers, and by extension, from her parents, who have long been complicit in the show's portrayal of her. The public nature of this conflict, then, is not just a sign of a family in crisis. It is a battle for narrative control, a war being waged in the court of public opinion. The devastating ripple effects of this conflict have been most acutely felt among the Johnston siblings, who are caught in an impossible and heartbreaking position. The sibling alliance, once a source of unwavering strength and solidarity, has begun to show visible cracks under the strain of this parental divide. Jonah, the eldest, is rumoured to be Anna's most steadfast, albeit quiet supporter. Having faced his own battles with his parents over his career path and his desire for independence, he understands the pressure cooker environment that Anna has been trying to escape. An insider report details a recent and private conversation between Jonah and Anna, a moment of sibling solidarity in which he reportedly told her to stay strong and don't let them break you. He is walking a tightrope, his loyalty to his sister at odds with his desire to avoid further conflict with his parents. Liz, on the other hand, appears to have aligned herself more closely with her parents. As a newly married woman, she has embraced a more traditional path, one that is more in line with her parents' values and expectations. It is speculated that she views Anna's actions as a threat to the family's stability and public image. Her heated text exchange with Anna over the birthday party was not just a moment of sisterly frustration, it was a reflection of a deeper ideological divide. Liz, it is believed, feels that Anna's public airing of grievances is a betrayal, a selfish act that is hurting the entire family. The tension between the two sisters is said to be at an all-time high, with communication reduced to curt and infrequent pleasantries. The younger siblings, Alex and Emma, are in an even more precarious position. Still living at home and more financially and emotionally dependent on their parents, they do not have the luxury of taking sides. They are said to be walking on eggshells, terrified of saying or doing the wrong thing. A report from a family friend describes a palpable sense of anxiety in the Johnston household, a heaviness that has settled over the once joyful home. The younger children are reportedly being coached by their parents on how to navigate this difficult situation, their interactions with Anna carefully monitored. They love their sister, but they are also loyal to their parents, and this conflict has forced them into a loyalty bind that is taking a significant emotional toll. The silent and unseen victims of this war are the very children that Trent and Amber claim to be protecting. Before the Thanksgiving blow-up, there were reportedly several attempts at reconciliation, secret summits that were meant to broker peace, but instead only deepened the divide. One exclusive report details a disastrous family dinner that took place in the weeks leading up to the holiday. The dinner, which was intended to be a neutral ground for open and honest conversation, quickly devolved into a shouting match. Anna, it is alleged, came to the table with a list of grievances, a heartfelt plea for her parents to acknowledge the pain they had caused her. But her plea was met not with empathy, but with defensiveness. Trent, according to the source, accused Anna of being ungrateful and living in a fantasy world. Amber, in tears, reportedly pleaded for a return to the way things used to be, a statement that Anna interpreted as a complete dismissal of her feelings and her desire for change. The dinner ended with Anna storming out, her hopes for a genuine reconciliation shattered. This failed attempt at mediation is a crucial piece of the puzzle, as it demonstrates that the conflict is not simply a matter of misunderstanding. It is a fundamental clash of values, a deep and seemingly irreconcilable difference in how they see the world and their place in it. The empty chair at Thanksgiving was not just a result of a heated text exchange, it was the inevitable outcome of a peace talk that had ended in war. In the public narrative, Trent and Amber have presented a united front, two parents making a difficult but necessary decision for the good of their family. But behind the scenes, it is believed that the reality is far more complex. An exclusive theory that has been whispered among those closest to the family is that Amber is in the midst of her own private crisis. Her maternal instincts at war with her loyalty to her husband and her carefully constructed family image. While Trent is said to be resolute in his position, convinced that they are doing the right thing, Amber is reportedly consumed by doubt and regret. A source close to Amber claims that she has been having sleepless nights, that she has broken down in tears to a close friend, confessing her fear that she has made a terrible mistake, that she has pushed her daughter away for good. She is trapped between a rock and a hard place, between a husband who demands loyalty and a daughter who is crying out for validation. This internal conflict, this Queen's Gambit, adds a layer of tragic complexity to the story. Amber is not just a controlling matriarch, she is a mother in turmoil, a woman who is terrified of losing her child, but who does not know how to bridge the chasm that has opened up between them. Her public statements of strength and resolve are, according to this theory, a carefully constructed mask, hiding a heart that is breaking. As the Johnston family navigates this uncertain and painful new reality, the future of their television show hangs in the balance. The conflict with Anna has become the central storyline, but it is a storyline that is unsustainable. A family permanently divided is not the brand that has made Seven Little Johnstons a success. The pressure from the network to resolve this conflict is said to be immense. But how can they resolve a conflict that is so deeply rooted in years of resentment and misunderstanding? The speculation about what comes next is running rampant. Will Anna be written off the show, her absence explained away with a brief and vague statement? Will she quit, choosing to walk away from the platform that has brought her both fame and pain? Or will the network, recognizing her immense popularity and the compelling nature of her story, make the ultimate power move, an Anna's Journey spin-off? The idea of a show that follows Anna as she navigates her independent life, builds her business and forges her own path is a tantalizing one for her supporters. It would be the ultimate vindication, a testament to her resilience and her refusal to be silenced. The Johnston family stands at a precipice. The path forward is fraught with peril. A true and lasting reconciliation will require more than just apologies and promises. It will require a seismic shift in their family dynamics, a willingness to dismantle the structures of control and to build a new foundation of mutual respect and understanding. It will require a level of honesty and vulnerability that may be impossible to achieve under the relentless glare of the public eye. The story of the Johnston family's Thanksgiving divide is a story of love and pain, of loyalty and betrayal, of the struggle for independence and the fear of letting go. It is a story that resonates with millions, because it is, in its own way, the story of every family. It is a reminder that the bonds that tie us together are as fragile as they are strong, and that the love that should be our greatest comfort can sometimes be the source of our deepest wounds. Whether this is the end of their story or the beginning of a new and more authentic chapter remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: the Johnston family will never be the same. And we, the viewers, are left to watch and to wonder, to hope for healing, and to wait for the next update in this heartbreaking family saga. Ultimately, the story of the Johnston family's Thanksgiving divide is a story about the corrosive nature of unspoken truths. The empty chair at the table was not the cause of the fracture, but the final public symptom of a foundation that had been quietly crumbling for years. This was never just about a birthday party or a disrespectful tone. It was about a fundamental struggle for power, narrative, and the very definition of family in the dizzying world of reality television. It's a battle between a daughter's desperate need for autonomy and parents who, perhaps blinded by love, fear, or the pressures of maintaining a brand, have conflated guidance with control. They built an empire on the image of unity, but in the process, they may have lost sight of the individuals within it, sacrificing authentic connection for the sake of a perfect picture. What we are witnessing is not just a family feud, it is a painful and public deconstruction of a dynasty. The future of the Johnston family now hinges on a single, critical choice. Will they choose the path of least resistance, allowing this fracture to become a permanent gaping wound? In this future, the show may continue, but it will be a ghost of its former self, haunted by the absence of one of its own. Anna will undoubtedly continue to thrive, her success a constant and bittersweet reminder of what the family has lost. The siblings will be left to navigate a fractured new world, their relationships forever marked by a loyalty test they never should have been forced to take. This is the path of pride, of unresolved anger, and of quiet, enduring heartbreak. But there is another path, a far more difficult and courageous one. It is the path of radical honesty and genuine reconciliation. This path does not lead back to the way things used to be, but forward to something new, something more authentic. It requires Trent and Amber to look beyond their roles as parents and showrunners and to truly see their daughter as an equal, a woman with valid feelings and a right to her own life. It requires them to acknowledge their part in the pain, to listen without defending, and to offer the one thing Anna has been asking for all along: real accountability. It requires Anna to find a space for forgiveness, to believe that change is possible, and to be willing to re-engage in the messy, imperfect work of being a family. This path almost certainly requires professional intervention, a neutral third party, to help them dismantle the toxic communication patterns that have led them to this breaking point. This saga has become more than just a storyline. It is a profound and cautionary tale for every family navigating the complex transition from parental authority to adult-child relationships. It is a testament to the fact that love, without respect, can become suffocating, and that control, even when cloaked in the best of intentions, can feel like a cage. Beyond the headlines and the speculation, it's crucial to remember the human cost of this conflict. Behind the carefully worded statements and the cryptic social media posts are real people in immense pain. There is a mother who fears she's lost her daughter, a father struggling with a changing world, siblings caught in an impossible crossfire, and a young woman who simply wants to be seen and accepted for who she is. The ultimate unanswered question is whether a family that has built its identity and its fortune on being watched can ever truly heal in private. Can they find their way back to each other when the world is demanding the next dramatic chapter? We don't have the answers, but we will be here to follow every development, to analyse every clue, and to bring you the very latest on this compelling and heartbreaking story. What do you think is the only way the Johnston family can truly heal this rift? Is a reconciliation even possible at this point, or has too much damage been done? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments section below. If this deep dive has given you a new perspective on the Johnston family crisis, please show your support by hitting that like button. And to ensure you don't miss a single update in this ongoing saga, make sure you subscribe to 7 Little Couple and click that notification bell. Our next report will be one you won't want to miss. Thank you for watching.